We're over a week into Season 27, and the game's looking a lot fairer than it used to be because the Ashe meta is gone. In fact, these were Ashe's pick rates at the peak of her power before she was nerfed, where everyone was abusing her. Actually, I lied, those are Valkyrie's pick rates today, right now. Yes, Valkyrie is absolutely dominating the game, but jokes aside about Ashe, the Ashe supremacy is definitely over, and she has dropped below some unexpected legends. But overall, the pick rates are looking pretty balanced, and many legends are holding a mid-level pick rate, and it's reasonably diverse. There are a few legends who have been left behind by Respawn, but we do have some good news about one of them. Let's hop into it, first of all by starting on the pick rates. Despite having a pretty high pick rate, from what I've seen right now, Valkyrie is still pretty loved by the community, and there aren't many people openly calling for nerfs to her. It's pretty simple why people are loving her. The speed boost buffs to both her VTOL and her skydive. It makes her feel responsive and like you can actually use the VTOL jetpack in combat instead of just using it to get onto roofs to ambush enemies. Also, players are really loving the strafe speed on her VTOL, and it definitely makes you really hard to aim at. But the thing is, it's way more balanced than Ashe's dash once was, as Valkyrie can't shoot while in her VTOL, and when turning off her VTOL, she has to go into an animation to pull her weapon out. So automatically, she feels way more balanced than Prime Ashe. I do wonder if once the recency of her changes wear off, she will still have such a high pick rate, as since Season 27 launched, Horizon's pick rate has nearly halved, but Valkyrie's has stayed pretty high. I am glad to see such a fun and fair legend dominating the game, although that might change as people learn to play Valkyrie better and find strategies within her new kit. The only standout annoying thing, at least in my opinion with the new Valkyrie buff, is when she completely evades your fight and just jetpacks off with no warning. But then again, that's the whole point of Valkyrie. She needs to be better than those deployable evac towers, and at the end of the day, if you have the right weapons, you can shoot her out of the sky when she jetpacks off. Also, her being able to shoot her rockets from her skydive is probably the coolest quality of life change Respawn have done in a very long time. Looking over to Horizon though, who is the second most picked legend with an 8.1% pick rate, so still pretty high. At the start of the season, people did get a bit annoyed with her changes. A lot of people did say they were straight up unnecessary, because she was already powerful and she was already annoying to fight against. And I think a lot of people attribute the annoyance fighting Horizon to her verticality, as sometimes it can be annoying to track somebody and shoot them when they're going up and down. Also, an aspect about Horizon I do think a lot of people are sleeping on is the gold laser sight. This was added this season and it adds reverse hip fire to SMGs and pistols, which when combined with her gravity lifts, it does allow you to absolutely laser guns off them, but you have to have really good aim. I struggle with this. I think Horizon is definitely suited for very skilled players, and I think you do have to have good aim to play Horizon. But that begs the question, what is Horizon's pick rate like in Predator lobbies? Well, believe it or not, she isn't the most picked legend. In fact, she is third on the pick rates, with Valkyrie in front of her. The number one most picked legend in Pred lobbies is actually Revenant. Yes, he is still secretly dominating the game, and in just the general pick rates of Apex, Revenant is the third most picked legend overall. So he's dominating Pred lobbies and the actual game. People are still absolutely loving him. Respawn did actually push a nerf to Revenant in the Season 27 patch notes, reducing the speed of his pounce, but that didn't really knock him, and I really wouldn't be surprised in a few weeks if Revenant does become the second most picked legend in the game. So why is he so highly picked, especially in competitive spaces? Well, because he is an insane entry fragger. In ranked, if you want to push a team and have a fight with them, it's very important to weaken them first, and entry fragging is a good way to do this because you essentially knock one of that team and then push them so it's a 3v2. And Revenant kind of excels at this because he can pounce on enemies, and he literally has Octane's jump pad as his tactical, and also his ultimate just gives him loads of extra health, so you can make those pounces less risky by activating your ultimate first. I obviously don't really play high tier ranks, but from what I've seen in discussions, this is the way Revenant's used, and a lot of people do get frustrated that they get jumped on a lot by Revenants. And also Revenant has the passive ability to literally climb up walls like Spider-Man, which can make him an excellent ambusher. At the end of the day, in a game where the time to kill was recently massively reduced, a legend that can give himself extra tanky health out of nowhere through his ultimate ability is always going to be useful. So that's why Revenant is the third most picked legend in Apex right now, and the most picked in high tier lobbies. Luckily, Maggie is still doing pretty well. She is the fourth most picked legend, still riding off those mid-season 26 buffs, and she is closely followed by Bangalore, who people still use for her anti-utility abilities, and also the fact that she can smoke off sightlines. And then we finally get to Ashe, who has been majorly knocked down. Honestly, I really think, controversially, they should rebuff Ashe and give her a faster cooldown on the dash. I really do think the speed nerf to her dash was a bit too much, and I do think it isn't a bad time for a buff. Speaking of buffs, it does feel like a lot of the cast of Apex has been buffed within the last 5 seasons, either with new abilities or new upgrades. So I decided to go onto this pick rate list and grey out the characters who have had either reworks, notable ability buffs, or new upgrades since season 20 when upgrades were introduced to the game. And Respawn have actually covered a lot of the cast at this point. Obviously Sparrow hasn't been buffed because he is a recent legend, but the main legends who haven't been touched by Respawn are Conduit, Octane, Fuse, Bloodhound, Gibraltar, Newcastle, and Catalyst. And these are likely the legends to be getting buffs next in Apex. And I do wonder, after these legends are buffed, where Apex is going to go. Are they going to focus on weapons? Or are they going to focus on maps? Because they have focused on classes, and they did overhaul the class system. Now they focused on legends, and they've nearly done the legends. So what's next? I feel like it's pretty much confirmed at this point that Octane is going to be receiving a buff in the mid-season patch. Respawn have been teasing it in promotional art being covered in Octane, the season being called Amped, and I do recall a creator asked Respawn if Octane would be seeing any changes, and they did hint that Octane potentially would be. I can't find the source for this because it was in one of those season 27 early gameplay videos, but please trust me on that one. We do know they have been testing Octane buffs for a while now. When they showcased some new VFX a few seasons ago, we did see they were messing with Octane's upgrades and gave him 2 jump pads by default in his kit instead of needing an upgrade. So honestly, if I were to guess, when Octane gets buffed, they're going to remove his extra jump pad upgrade, integrate it into his kit, remove another upgrade in his kit, and then give him 2 new upgrades. That is my best guess at the minute. Honestly, I really hope out of the remaining legends, like Conduit, Fuse, Newcastle, Catalyst, Bloodhound, and Gibraltar, one of them does get a major rework, in the essence of Revenant Reborn and Lifeline Reborn. Hopefully, honestly, we get a Bloodhound Reborn. They feel quite useless in modern Apex, at least in my opinion, especially towards a casual audience. And you may not be aware, but Bloodhound already got a soft rework at one point, where they got the whole White Raven thing going on. But that didn't help them, and I do think Respawn need to take big measures. But who out of this list would you like to see buffed the most? And subscribe to see if they do get buffed.